And it's just like that time right now where I look on YouTube and people are selling their souls and documenting what happens. Because people died of COVID, and suddenly selling your souls is the actual response and reaction, and just turning away from God. Like, people haven't lost enough, obviously. There's going to be a lot of that, there's going to be a lot of God. Don't you see my grandpa died? You're talking about God. I mean, hell is a very real place. Hell is existent. It exists. All those emotions up in you, thinking that a loss is you taken, but God is a lot bigger than you. Turning from God into an individual, independent person, you only have another choice. Then that's hell, I know it's so easy to think that, like, turning away from God is gonna get you something, and then trying to attack people who are still, like, very much connected to the Lord Almighty and very much believe, just because, like, your life doesn't have to be daisies and sunshine for you to believe in God, Your life can be in shambles, and believing in God doesn't ever have to be like, a lot of people don't really make it into the kingdom of heaven. Basically, what I'm trying to say is because they think that you only believe in God until something bad happens to you. And then you stop believing in God until something good happens to you again. And it's kind of dumb because it's like the person that you're turning to is a person doing these things to you so that you turn to them. The devil, Satan. It's like you're up there with God, and then Satan notices you and knows that, you've been doing a little too good with God, or you just are weak. And the moment that anything bad happens to you, you turn to Satan, and then Satan stops bothering you all of a sudden because you're already on his team and you're on your way to hell. I will never be embarrassed of everything that the Lord has blessed me with, everything that the Lord does for me on a daily basis. Because... and it's just so much. It is just so much that the Lord blesses me with every single day, in every single way. All these tiny details, all these huge things. And the Lord also says everywhere, I'm sure you've even seen it on Facebook. People post it on Facebook all the time. Deny me in front of your friends, I will deny me in front of my Father. What that means is that if you go around embarrassed that you believe in God, embarrassed of believing in God, embarrassed of the Bible, embarrassed of saying that you pray, you go to church, embarrassed of the whole word, the whole, Jesus Christ plot scheme, embarrassed of yourself for believing in God, you won't get in. You'll go to hell too, with all the people who are embarrassed with you and keeping it a secret. One of the many things God has blessed me with, I don't know, as well as, strength that you build through everything that happens. You learn to find this calamity and something happening to you, because that means you're on the right track, God is with you, you're with God. The devil is at your toes, The devil is like, oh, hell no, she cannot be doing this right now. Like, this is jacking up the whole thing I have going on. So I'm just going to attack her. God's finna be right there through the whole thing. Because God is like, that's my child. That's my kid. Leave that mo chucker alone. Knock it off. See? The God beam. Right here. Right up on my chest. What I was going to say is the place that I got my inspiration from to even start these kinds of vlogs was that I ran into this lady, and she seemed very nice when I was feeling a little uncomfortable while leaving my home. And she actually was making these sorts of videos where she would kind of do a little sermon, and it would just make me feel so much better throughout my day whenever I would see her update and post another sermon, because you never really see that many female preachers. I've never been to a church with a female preacher. I've been to a church with a pastor's wife, but she's never really come up to take the stand on the pulpit in church except to like sing during choir and stuff. And I have never felt more proud to leave such a pretty footprint here in this place that I am in. All the different things that it means to me. All the different things I was meant to be here for, you know? You would be surprised as a person that I am how many struggles I come to face every single day because, you know, people just don't understand where I come from, you know? They don't understand where I come from. They don't understand what it's like to be a foreigner in a different country. They don't understand when people have the nerve to be like, just go back to your own country. Like, you know, I should have been raised there. I should have been born there. I should have, you know, grew up there. There shouldn't be any kind of disrespect where you tell somebody that you've held hostage here in a land that was entitled to slavery and the crucifixion of God himself, that I should go back to a country that was withheld from for the first 20 years of my life. There were several long-lasting parts of my life I could never learn anything about where I was from. There's so many other things that, you know, are hard to talk about. Culture differences. You know, I'm sure that this place claims to have so much culture in it, and, you know, the real reality of culture is, you know, Krispy Kreme donuts, buffets. And it's sad. It's really sad. And one day I realized, the person that I am and all the entitlements that I was entitled to, I didn't get to have a life where it's just a jolly gag around and have all kinds of fun. You know, I actually have a job here. For every breath of a life I have ever breathed was just training, purposes, knowledge, learning, reading, trying to figure out how to do what I need to do. And, you know, actually worrying about what could happen to me if I didn't take the whole matter seriously and just decided to jolly gag around and work for the people that, you know, enslaved people that resemble me. And it's like so easy to be like, oh, this is it, really, I'm done now, I don't have to do anything. But like, this is really the beginning of the rest of it. And, you know, I know there's happy parts of life. There's plenty of happy parts of life when you're in the world of hard work and all the time, and your life is a job, you know? You're born with a purpose more than just working a collar job at the 9 to 7, you know? Working a call center job, 40 hours. You come from a foreign country who happens to resemble the nation you once enslaved in the country that you are assigned to. You know, the day you learn about slavery, things change. The whole view of this place changes. You begin to understand the difference and the similarities of the treatments that are received and all the different strategies and all the different situations that you're placed in for some sort of reconciliation. And you become a tool to someone because of your roots as a person, not in a job, not in a workplace, not even of age to be working. You know, things are different. One thing has always stayed the same throughout the years, throughout the hardships, throughout the struggles, throughout all the successes and happinesses, awards, trophies. All of that was God. God, throughout all the different churches I went to, all the different times that I had to change churches, all the different times I walked to church, all the different times I got rides to church, all the times it was just me at church, all the times it was my whole family at church. God was always there when I called him. Whether if it was just to say, thank you, God, like, this is awesome. And God was just like, yeah, girl, you're welcome. or if it was to be like, I'm having a hard time right now with these people because, this whole situation you put me in and this job that I have, I didn't even ask for it, and I'm enjoying the benefits of it, of course, but like, it does get annoying, growing up being confused for one of the people with the bloodline that was once enslaved, being that my roots have nothing to do with slavery and not a drop of blood in my family have ever been a slave to another person, not even here in America. And being confused as to treat it like such, as well as letting me know just what kind of things that these people go through, is very disrespectful. I know it's easy for people to be like, we don't even do slavery anymore. That was such a long time ago. But like, you gotta think about like how you enslaved a nation, how that even happened in the first place. What kind of people enslave other people? And then nothing is just supposed to be expected to happen again, you're just suddenly supposed to just be let go and get over it, just move on from that stuff and be trusted with stuff, important stuff. You're just suddenly supposed to have trust, respect, honor. All of a sudden after that, it doesn't work like that. Not in my book, at least. And it's just where I'm from. It's skin deep for me, It's something that I feel in my bones, in my blood. Something that I feel like it was just something that was instilled into me. Like, I don't have a choice in it. I can't just wake up one day and be like, I now can trust the country that enslaved the people who look like me for the rest of my life. I can't. Something in my heart just doesn't let me. Something is like, you remember how they enslaved? You remember that? Every time I see people, every time I walk and breathe air and hear English, the language that I was forced to learn, might I remind you, it wasn't my option. My first language was actually Spanish. And if you want to know how deep that gets as a baby to choose a different language, you tell me what you think of that. It's just very disgusting to me to hear any of you, people who came from the land that enslaved a race here in this land too. It didn't even happen anywhere else. This is where you had the slaves and stuff. This is where you had enslaved people. Here, walking around, if I walk around, I could probably even like feel the tension of somebody once doing slave work and stuff. You know that? There's still slave cotton picking places where you guys would tell slaves what to do and stuff. A slave. I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand how people can still come to me and try to come to me as human beings at this point. Being that we're not in the same level. I'm a foreigner here. You're not. I don't have respect for you guys. I want to maintain my space. Been held hostage. I've reached out to multiple foreign countries to try and get any kind of assistance here, to get any sort of regulation happening here. But we'll just see. We'll just see what happens, and all the prayers that I have and all the roots that I have actually related to a foreign country. If you would personally like to know my experience here, I've done everything to make this possible, and I don't regret it. And I'm sure all the little reactions you slave people have had are just going to continue, but I'm just going to keep reminding myself that this is a place of slavery, and I've never been comfortable here, ever. I'm here at the border of Mexico. I live on the border of Mexico for a reason. At least being that I was trained and born and forced to learn English as my main language, and I cannot survive as well in Mexico as I can here. I take into consideration the different possibilities that my family could have if I found a way to get a good career and brought money over to them every so often, because here really nothing ever meant much to me. Once I learned that you guys enslaved a nation here, and still live here and just expect forgiveness and calamity and things to just have not, nothing to come from that, I've lived an extremely uncomfortable life with the things that I've seen and experienced here in America. And I'm doing everything I can to try and call attention to the things you guys have going on in this country. As big as you think you are, there is an entire world surrounding you, and they will do something about it. I can genuinely commit myself and my entire existence to that actual fact and that mission and strategy to make sure that something changes here in America before my actual decease. Grown to become a full adult, to have many different actual visualizations of the person that I am now, the person that I've turned into because of my experience here, not being a person related to anyone who was enslaved here, being a foreigner, being confused for one of those people. And if you can make a good assumption what kind of treatment that the people who were actually enslaved here are getting by the comparison of somebody who just appears to be one of them, you could probably come up with what kind of consequences may come from that.